Corporal Randall here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. Share the video, watch the video, leave a comment, hit the notification bell. So that way you know when I post a new video. Today's topic is Black culture. Well, let's start with what is Black culture? You look at Black culture in the United States and you might come away with many different views, many different thoughts. Some see Blackness as being cool, designer clothes, designer cars, keeping up with the Combses, as Diddy once famously said. Then you have the stereotypes, from male sexual prowess to the proud single mother, even the pie in the sky ministers teaching the wealth gospel. Lastly, you have how Black culture is portrayed in media, from the urban blight, criminality, drug dealing, viewing women as nothing more than a conquest. This is all in the world I grew up in. In my youth, I had to straddle the line between being what was seen as authentically Black and being who my parents were raising me to be. Authentically Black was the selling drugs, getting in fights, going to jail, female conquest. None of that was who my parents were raising me to become. Now, does that mean that I didn't involve myself in any of that? No, it doesn't. My family likes to joke that I'm a chameleon. Put me in any situation and I'll excel. No matter who I'm around, what I'm in, what's going on, I'll be fine. And I learned that trait early on. In elementary school, I had a large mouth and I was a skinny kid whose mouth wrote checks that he couldn't always cash. So I had to learn how to be funny, handle myself if necessary, and make people like me. That was a lot. You couple that with the fact that although many of my peers didn't like me for the way I spoke or the way I acted, my teachers loved me. I was teacher's pet almost every class because I like to try to speak clearly. And I wanted to learn more. I know when I was growing up, especially for a boy, it was not considered the cool thing to be smart. So much so that I would actually not do well on certain things just so I didn't sit there and outshine my class too much. Because I didn't want to be the one who everybody decided, hey, he's the nerd. Nerd was always going to get picked on. So I absolved myself from that early on. The older I got, the more I came face to face with what was considered authentic Black culture, being as though I was growing up in the projects. From hustling to all the other different types of criminality to sexual conquest. Black culture today still celebrates much of the same things that they celebrated when I was young. The artists are different. The slang is different. They're still glorifying all the same things, from unwed mothers to hustling to the drug game, street life, all still being celebrated in the music today. And in inner city, that's the music that most people are listening to. So you wonder, among the problems with the Black youth, where are they getting some of their thought processes? Often they're getting it directly from music and media. Can we change Black culture without changing music and media? You can. That requires us to have a conversation amongst ourselves. See, here's the sticky point. Many don't like to accept that the problem in Black America is one that white America can't help us with. They can't. They can listen, but they can't actually do anything. In the words of Larry Elder, to avoid poverty, you need to do three things. Finish high school, don't have kids before you're 20, and get married first. As Adam Carolla would say, family and education. Have an intact family, stress education. The two of them are basically given a prescription for how to fix the Black culture. And it's essentially the one no one wants to listen to because it's the diet and exercise of losing weight and getting in shape. Yes, it's simple. You already know what you need to do, but you definitely don't want to have to do it. It's going to take a lot more work. It's going to be difficult, but it's a system we know works. How? We have hundreds of thousands of years of history to tell us it does. In the 1940s, almost 70% of all Black children were born to a married couple. Currently, almost 75% of Black children are born to a single mother. I hear people say, well, what about the school to prison pipeline? There is no school to prison pipeline. There's a non-intact family to prison pipeline. There's a I wasn't educated to prison pipeline. There's a I'm going to blame everyone else for my problems to prison pipeline. Your choices are going to determine where you go. You don't have to go to jail. You don't. I didn't. I have several friends that didn't. My friends and I who didn't go to jail, we generally had both our parents. We generally finished school. And we were in an intact family that stressed education. If we can convince the Black community that, hey, the government can't be the father, reintroduce the father into the lives of the family unit. Not only reintroduce the father into the lives of the family unit, stop pretending that the father is some doofus who's useless and has nothing to offer. Yes, I understand that women have been systematically oppressed, but you don't get over oppression by oppressing someone else. So why don't we pretend that both sides have something to offer to the child? And it may be a little bit different, but it's there and it's necessary. One of the things I hear in the media is that in this country, Black people have to have a conversation with their boys to make sure they understand how to interact with law enforcement so they don't get killed by law enforcement. The first time I heard that, I was an adult, Baba. So I get the feeling you didn't love your sons. Now it's three of us. He goes, what do you mean? My dad was always there to provide for us. Not my biological dad, but my dad that raised me. He was always there, provide for us, take care of us. There was nothing we ever needed. However, when I came to him and said, hey, I'm convinced that you must not have loved us because you never had this conversation with us, between the four of us. I actually went to my siblings to make sure I wasn't the only one, and he just didn't despise me and was trying to get rid of me. So I went to my siblings and I said, hey, have you had this conversation with Baba? And to a man, every one of them said, no, never had it. So when I went to him, he was confused. He said, and he looks at me and he goes, didn't I teach you to be respectful? I said, yes. Didn't I teach you to be respectful of authority? I said, yes. He said, didn't I teach you right from wrong? I said, yes. He said, so what conversation was there to have? I'd already taught you everything you needed to know. That's called personal responsibility. My dad taught us how to respect others, how to treat others. We were left with a personal responsibility to do as we were taught. Don't forget to like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Tell a friend. Corporal Randall, out.